quick review of the Joolca hot tap Nomad kit system. Right now I'm using the water pump and filter to pick up water from this mountain stream here. And I'm running the 12-volt pump off of a Jackery 12-volt power source. And I'm lifting water up to my storage tank. Now, you will not get the required 60 psi to run the hot water heater from this setup. But the pump is powerful enough to lift the water and fill my unpressurized tank. I'm just using a normal garden hose with a Melnor quick connect, which fits the Joolca pump. But this hose is now filling my pump, and I'll show you what the rest of the setup looks like here in just a second. Okay, so my travel setup has a 35-gallon tank, and what I've done here is I've just gone from a NPT thread and an NPT valve over to garden hose, at which point I'm using those Melnor quick connects, which do match up with the Joolca hoses. And you can see my blue hose runs along the wall of my camper here to the Joolca pump. I made my own very simple mount for the pump here. And then we have a short section of hose. The Joolca hoses are very easy to disassemble and cut to a custom length. So I've got a short hose here, which goes to my NPT outlet that goes to the outside of the trailer. And then I installed a small circuit box with a 12-volt plug to have a 12-volt power source nearby to the pump. And now we'll go to the outside and see what the actual shower setup looks like. So this is where my brass NPT pipe exits the trailer. And again, I convert from NPT to garden hose, and I'm using the Melnor quick connects, which match up with the Joolca hoses. And we can see my blue hose here comes from my water tank supply inside and goes to the bottom of my hot water heater. And then I'll just open my shower enclosure here to get a little bit more of a look at this. So the blue is the water in from the tank, the red is the hot water out. And I've made my own splitter here, again using Melnor quick connects, some garden hose adapters, and some pressure rated hose. I have a Y here, and the right hand side of the Y, move this out of the way, feeds the shower, and the left hand side of the Y feeds the sink. And the reason I did it this way is these particular Melnor quick connects, the blue ones, do not leak when disconnected. So this allows me to connect and reconnect my shower or sink as needed without losing any water and without having to go inside and turn the pump off. Of course, I have my gas hose coming in here, and this is simply extended from the gas tank mounted on the front. I'm in my shower enclosure now. This is the Bundatech Quick Pitch en suite. It has this nice zip down panel, so you can access your shower controls quite easily. I'm a big fan of the Bundatech Quick Pitch. And then you have your water flow switch and your temperature switch right in front of you. The shower mount is magnetic, so I can stick the shower control to the front of the hot water heater. Usually I have it somewhere in this area, so I can see the gauges and everything. And then from the switch, I have another hose running to my shower head, which is suspended overhead, just using some paracord, nothing fancy here. And you can quickly detach it by loosening those clips and use it as a hand sprayer if needed. And so now, as far as mounting the Joolca, I simply put a bracket where one of the bumpers was on the back of my trailer and through bolted it all the way through to the inside. Quite simple. Now we'll go over to the sink. I'm using the hot water stand as a stand for the sink, and the faucet for the sink clips on to the outside of my sink here. And then we have that red hose going right over here at that Y setup here. The one on the right, again, going to the shower. The one on the left going to the sink. My biggest takeaway on this is I've been very pleased with how well the pump works. Discovering that Melnor Quick Connects are the correct connections to use with Joolca was a huge bonus. I've been very impressed with the pump performance. It does good pressure. I have been disappointed with the actual performance of the hot water. You never get more than about 5 minutes of hot water out of this thing before it just shuts off. And the only way to get it to become hot again is to turn it off and back on. And that only seems to work when you're on this lowest setting. If you're on this higher setting and for whatever reason it stops heating and you shut it off at the switch here and back on, the heater will not come back on unless you return it back to this setting. The other thing I've discovered is the water is almost too hot to use on this setting. If you turn the flow all the way up, thinking, okay, well, I'll increase the flow through the unit, therefore it'll have less exposure to the burner, so the water won't be as hot. It doesn't work that way. No matter what you do, the water is almost too hot to use, so I never use this in any position other than all the way down. It's a big miss that they don't have a position that is off, because maybe sometimes you just want to have cold water, which we do sometimes. So it's a little bit of a bummer you can't just bypass this. One way to get around that is simply use this inline valve on my gas here, and then of course I'll have cold water. The other way to do it would be to simply remove power here, but I don't like that option because then you're potentially exposing some electronics to some moisture. So the best thing to do is just shut the gas off, or bypass the hot water heater entirely and connect your supply hose to your splitter, so you don't have to worry about shutting off your gas supply just to get your cold water through the system. The other thing I'll say is there's almost no difference in this position and this position. I've tried it in both, and the pump speeds up, the pump is running faster, but you're not getting any appreciable difference in pressure at the actual shower head. So I just keep it on the lowest setting all the time because it runs the pump at a lower speed, which saves my batteries. And maybe it is pumping more water, but it's not a difference you can feel. So if it is pumping more water, then in my opinion, you're just wasting it. So it always stays in this position. And as mentioned before, when it's in this position and it stops heating, you can trigger it off and back on, and it'll start heating again. So overall, very pleased with the system. The hoses are good, the shower head's good, the controls are good. It's lightweight, it's quick and easy to set up. It doesn't use a lot of gas. It runs on D batteries, which are very common. The pump is very impressive. The lift I was able to do moving water from the river up to my tank was very impressive. Just a little disappointed in the fact that it doesn't heat consistently, and that it frankly heats a little too much even on the lowest setting. So there you have it, the Joolca Hot Tap Nomad kit.